Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samapprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmadgurubhyo Namaha. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badharayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritav Vande Bhagavantav Punah Punah Ishvaro Guru Ratmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyoma Bhatyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Om Shri Medha Dakshinamurti Swamine Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaita Varshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatva Manusandhadami Bhagavat Gite Bhavadveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stummanti Divyaistavaihi Vedais Sankapadakramopanishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavastita Dadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyantanna Vidhusura Suraganaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Namaste once again, everyone.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste. So, in the last class, we were discussing in detail the meaning and import of this sloka. Karpanya doshopahata swabhavaha prichami tvam dharma sammudha chetah yachreyasyan nishchitam bruhitan me shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. As I was telling you, this is one of the very important slokas of Bhagavad Gita. It is one of the defining movements of the entire Gita teaching. There are two defining movements in the introduction portion itself. The first defining movement was when Arjuna asked Krishna, Senayor Ubhayor Madhye Ratam Stapaya Mechyuta. When Arjuna asked Krishna to put the chariot in between the two armies, which is when the whole problem of Raga, Moha and Shoka started. Raga, Shoka, Moha started. Now we have seen all those, what happened after that and how Arjuna got totally deluded by this attachment, raga and all that. Now, this is the second defining movement where Arjuna now accepts that he is helpless, he is confused, his mind is deluded, and he is asking Krishna to teach him, and he is surrendering to Krishna. So this is the second defining movement in the introductory portion of Bhagavad Gita, because of which we have got the Gita teaching that. So we must understand that these slokas need to be understood in a lot of details. Of course, those who are Samskrita Priya, they will also want to have a little bit of more explanation of the words of this. So that is why I chose this sloka for a very detailed discussion on each word and what are the what all meanings and we can actually derive out of each of these words. Okay. And in the last class, we saw in detail the different meanings of the word karpanyam. And all those meanings can be applied in this context. I don't want to go and repeat those karpanyam. And towards the end of the last class, we were discussing two words which are used in the Shastra. What are they? Shreyas and Preyas. These were the two words which are used. I told that they are used in the Shastras. Because here Arjuna is using what Yat Shreyaha is using. So we have to understand what is Arjuna meaning by that. Yat Shreyaha. Tat bruhi tanme, tat buhi me. So in that context, we have to understand what this Shreyas is. And while understanding Shreyas, we need to bring in Preyas also, because these two words are used in combination in the Shastras. Preyas means that which is pleasant. And many times what happens is the dukkha that we face in our life, that problem most of the times is solved by this prayers. Temporarily, it solves the problem. So prayers is like engaging in artha, kama, and dharma purusharthas. It is like what they call symptomatic treatment. It gives happiness for some time. And most of the people, I would probably put it at 99% of the people are working for getting prayers only. That is immediate happiness, immediate good. I do this, I will become happy. But it has got a limitation. Prayers has got a limitation because it is a happiness which is limited in time. And Arjuna actually sees the limitation of these prayers. Of course, we will when we come to the next sloka, we will know how Arjuna is describing this limitation of these prayers. And that is why he says, I want that which is Shreyas. So what is Arjuna's approach here? He says everything seems to give some relief for some time. But we don't find a permanent solution for all our problems in life. So by asking the Lord to tell him what is Shreyas, he is telling the Lord that he wants a permanent solution for the inadequacy of this samsara. And that permanent solution is Shreya. And that too, he uses the word Nishchitam Shreya. Nishchitam means, as I said, that which is ascertained by Shruti, Smriti, and also Maharishis, and also Bhagavan Krishna's own experience. Based on all these, what is Shreya for me? That absolute, definite, absolute good is the Nishchitam Shreya. That you please tell me what is good for me under these circumstances. And here Puja Swamiji actually goes into little elaboration. He says that a person who is sad becomes sad. A person who has got anger inside, that person will become angry. So what we have to understand is that there is always a seed of sadness or anger, or for that matter, any other thing like jealousy, etc. Inside the seed should be there, and then only when we actually nourish that seed, the person becomes sad, angry, jealous, etc. So what happens outside is not so important. What triggers this anger, this sadness, that is only a provoking factor, what we can call a nimitta. If there is no seed of anger inside, even if there is a provocation, there will not be anger. Similarly, if there is no seed for sadness, there will be no sadness, whatever may be the circumstances. Similarly, jealousy, all other, we can bring in all other doshas into this. So what we have to understand is that what is there inside only comes out. And we continue to blame the world for our reaction. X and Y makes me angry. X and Y makes me sad. These are all typical samsari's statement. But in the spiritual journey, what happens? From a samsari, when we become a sadhaka, at least this blame game stops. We come to understand that by blaming the others for my sadness or my anger, the problem will not be solved. So the first progress for a sadhaka is that we don't blame the world nor ourselves for our problems. First, we acknowledge that there is a seed for the problem. Which seed is within me? So the problem is not the world, the problem is me. And the solution also I have to find. And I should work on this. And this is the first sign of becoming a sadhaka. So there are three stages, from samsari to sadhaka, then from sadhaka to siddha. What defines these three states is samsari blames the world for his problems. A sadhaka has stopped blaming the world. And the siddha is one who has found a permanent solution to his problem. So when Arjuna is saying, Yat nishchitam shreya syat, tat me bruhi, Bhagavan could easily say, why should I teach you? I came and joined you as your driver, not as a teacher. And because there is another reason, if Bhagavan were to say this, of course he doesn't say it, but if he were to say it, there is a reason, because there is a shloka in Manusmriti. What does the Manusmriti say? Na aprishta hai kasyachit bhruyat, nacha anyanyena pruchata hai, janannapihi medavi jadavallokam acharet. This is a beautiful shloka. Aprishta hai means not asked. A person who has not been asked for advice is called aprishta. So a person who is not asked should not tell anything to anyone. He should not advise anybody without being asked for it. This I told in the last class also. We touched upon this topic. And this is advice actually to a student. In the Manusmriti, it's advice to a student who has come for advice. And this is a very important teaching of Shastra and a very important sadhana. If we all follow this advice, even 25% our talking will be reduced. And the reason for this advice is that when we advise others without being asked for, there are chances that we may hurt the other person. There are chances that the other person may feel offended or inferior. Especially people who have got very strong ego, they will say, who is this fellow to give me all this advice? They may not say it in our presence, but in our back they will say, as if he is a big scholar, he is coming and giving me advice, as if I don't know. So this could actually be hurtful and this could offend the person if we give advice without being asked. Of course, there are three exceptions to this rule. The first one is advising children, one's own children, not general, one's own children in their formative years. Because as parents, we have a duty to guide the children about right and wrong. But this is to be done only in the formative years. Because in these days, we have seen children don't like the parents' advice once they have become teenagers. Once they step into the teens, they think that they know everything in this world. Parents have all become previous generation. They are not in tune with the times. They don't understand what I want. They don't understand my emotions. They don't understand my feelings. They don't understand my needs. All these things, that's what we are experiencing. So the first exception is you should advise your children, even if they don't ask. Because in the formative years, children don't know that they have to ask, what they have to ask. So it is our duty as parents to guide them, to tell them that do this, don't do this, this is right, this is wrong. And we must, the moment the child says, now don't give me advice, that time all unsolicited advice stopped completely, even with children. If they ask, you can offer the advice. So this is the first exception. The second exception is that if someone has given a standing instruction, like we give in banks and all, every month, please transfer so much so amount to this account, or pay my electricity bill every month automatically, like that. So if someone has given a standing instruction that whenever you feel that I am going off the track, please advise me, even if I don't ask you specifically. Somebody has told this, blanket permission he has given. Under that circumstance also, one can advise without being asked. Of course, the third exception is that when somebody's life is in danger, you give advice without being asked, because you sense that that person's life is in danger. Of course, there is a possibility in such cases also of being offended, especially if that person is going to commit suicide. He is about to take his life and you are advising him about all Vedanta and all that, and that fellow will actually, hasten his suicide bid. He'll say, oh, this fellow, if I allow him to talk, he will kill me with words only. Let me jump and die myself. So, of course, this is the third exception. For that reason, if a person is going to commit suicide, even though he is not going to ask you for your advice whether I should commit suicide or not, this is a problem I am facing, it is our duty, if we see such as, of course, in very exceptional circumstances, that when we will actually come across such an experience, but it is our duty to actually save that life, prevent that person from committing suicide or whatever, taking his life, or especially if the person's life is in danger. For example, a person is walking on the road and there is some vehicle coming from behind which you feel is going to actually may hurt this person. So you can always advise that person, hey, don't walk on this road like this, so many vehicles are coming, please walk in the footpath. So that advice he is not asked, but you can still give that to save that endangered the life which is in danger. So except for these three exceptions, we must never ever give any advice without being solicited. And this injunction should be very strictly followed, especially when it comes to Brahma Vidya. The advice of Vedanta or Moksha should not be given without asking. Now, we have to consider the circumstances. Sometimes the other person may feel that we are not being sensitive to his feelings. As for example, someone has lost someone very dear. And we go there with all our Bhagavad Gita knowledge and all that. And we start Nainam Chindanti Shastrani and all that. Atma is eternal and all. Why are you crying? If we start giving such big Vedanta talks there in that circumstance, then we are actually, abusing of the knowledge rather. So even all these things that we are discussing also has got a context, should have a context, should have a purpose behind it. So telling somebody about the permanent, impermanent, and all that. In whenever you are, when you have gone to actually condole somebody's passing away, it doesn't fit there. And suppose someone has got some financial problems. You go and tell him, oh, what problem are you talking about? Everything is mithya, this world is mithya, money is mithya, and all that. What is there to feel a problem? If we start making that advice, such advice, that person will feel insulted and humiliated. Yes, he is actually, having a huge problem in his hand. So many debts are there. He doesn't know how to repay them. And you say it's all mithya. He can't go and tell the creditor, the bank, that everything is mithya, so you forget my debt. He can't tell that. The bank will actually take care of that mithya business. He'll say you are also mithya, so we'll remove you. So one should be very careful, even if we have a good intention. Good intention is not good enough for interfering in someone's life. We must have discretion and not just good intention. So, na aprishtaha kasyachit bhruyat. Don't tell unless asked. Then the shloka says, nacha anyanyena prichataha. Again, there could be circumstances. Someone may ask, but ask very casually, not in a serious way. Like someone wants to talk about Vedanta on a dinner table. So when the other person is not taking it seriously, you should not have the pressure to take it seriously. You must not start explaining. Because I have personally experienced this. I committed a mistake of trying to explain, and I got into a big problem. I recently read one very nice quotation. I think it was by Mark Twain or somebody, one of the humorists. He says, never pick up an argument with idiots. Because, first of all, they will bring you down to their level and then beat you with their experience. So he says, don't. When this moment you sense the other fellow is actually, going to talk, is not seriously talking, he is trying to test you out, you must be careful. So, anyanena prichataha na bruyat. If somebody is asking something without being serious, then also don't tell him. So, what a person of wisdom will be doing? Janannapihi medhavi. Though a wise person knows everything, Jadaval lokam acharet. He will behave as if he knows nothing. He will not be trying to show off what he knows. He will behave as if he is ignorant. He will not try to exhibit his knowledge. And Arjuna knows this. And he also knows that Krishna also knows this. And that is why here Arjuna is specifically saying, I am your disciple, I surrender to you. Please teach me. Aham te shishyaha tvam prapannam mam shadi. So this is how he is asking for Shreyas. So we have seen what is meant by prayers. Now what is Shreyas? Shreyas actually is another word for moksha in Vedanta terminology. And this moksha is presented in various ways in the Shastra. One is freedom from dependence on the world for happiness. Freedom from the sense of inadequacy, limitation. I feel inadequate, limited, and there is this world which is actually providing me with that, making me adequate in temporarily. So I feel happy. So that is the freedom from such dependence is called moksha or Shreyas. The other way to look at Shreyas is complete acceptance of oneself and the world. And this is possible only when I see myself acceptable to me. And acceptance is possible when I see something which is acceptable. So first I discover myself to be acceptable, and in that discovery there is complete self-acceptance. How do I see myself as acceptable? By seeing that I lack nothing. If as long as I see myself inadequate, lacking something, then I may not completely accept myself. It's only when I see myself free from limitation, I will see myself to be acceptable, and that will be completely a complete acceptance. Therefore, seeing oneself is what Shreya is. And that is what Arjuna is requesting for. And that is why Bhagavad Gita becomes relevant for everybody, because we are all Arjunas in some circumstance or the other. Given our own circumstances, we are Arjunas in our circumstances. We are also suffering from all these attachments, and followed by shoka, sadness, followed by moha. And there is nobody to guide us now, to tell us what is right, what is wrong. If at all there is something, then Shastra is there. That is the only thing we can seek help from, through a learned guru. Because if Arjuna had just asked, Krishna, tell me, I am confused whether I should go for a fight or not. And if that was the teaching of Gita, it will not be relevant to us. Because many people misunderstand Gita as a teaching whether to fight or not. Because time and again, Krishna tells Arjuna, Yudhyasva, Yudhyasva, Yudhyasva. Go and fight, go and fight, go and fight. We discussed this in one of the earlier classes. So here Arjuna, since he is asked for Shreya or Moksha, the absolute good, that is good for everybody all the time, the Gita teaching becomes relevant for everybody all the time in all situations. That is the importance of Gita, and that is how we have to understand the whole context of Gita. Okay. So now let us get back to the meanings. So we have seen the meaning of Karpanya. In Karpanya dosho pahata swabhava. Upahataha, as I told, means overpowered. So Arjuna is saying, my mind is upahataha, incapacitated, stultified, obstructed, made defunct, thwarted, made non-functional. So my intellect is not able to do its function. And what is the function of the intellect? The function is viveka, discriminating between two things. Is the function of an intellect permanent, impermanent, real, unreal, right, wrong? All this discrimination between any pair of two things is the function of the intellect. And this is the crucial moment when Arjuna has to choose the right course. And at this juncture, clouded by moha, by delusion, Arjuna is accepting that my mind is not able to think. Dharma sammuda moha, sammudaha, dharma sammudaha, he says. And because of what? He says swabhavaha. Here the meaning of swabhava, normally swabhava means one's nature. But here what we have to take the meaning is swabhavaha means innermost heart, antakarana or hridaya. In English we can translate it as mind. So what he is saying is that my mind is overpowered by the defect of miserliness. Karpanya dosho upahataha swabhavaha. I have not used my buddhi properly. Therefore, I am dharma sammuda chetaha. Cheta also means mind. Sammudaha means very well. Samyak mudaha, completely confused. And the confusion is with regard to what? With regard to dharma. And here dharma includes adharma also. So what he is saying is, what is dharma, what is adharma? I do not know, I am confused about it. Because Dharma Shastra clearly says himsa is a papa. Na himsyat sarva bhutani, says Dharma Shastra. You should not harm anybody mentally, verbally, or physically. Ahimsa paramo dharma is on one side. And that too, one should not kill one's own kith and kin, and that too elders, and that too cultured people, and that too gurus themselves one should not kill. This is one side. So one side says, I should not kill them. But another part of my mind says, these are all Dartra Rashtrasya Durbuddhe. Duryodhana and others are embodiment of adharma. They are atatayinah, the word he has used. Atatayinah, the moment you, Shastra says, the same Shastra which is saying ahimsa paramo dharma, the same Shastra says, the moment you see atatayinah, even if he is a guru, kill him. So clearly, Arjuna's problem is a very genuine problem. Should I fight and kill these people or not? Unfortunately, Bhishma and Dronacharya have joined the adharmic side for whatever reasons. But Arjuna feels that some action has to be taken. Therefore, he says, another part of my mind says, hey Arjuna, you go and fight. So one part of the mind says, ahimsa paramo dharma. Another part says, kill the atatayinah. So, therefore, my mind is dharma sammuda cheta. My mind is confused with regarding to dharma, adharma. Therefore, tatme bruhi, please tell me that, yat, which, nishchitam, definitely, decidedly, shreya syat, which is best. So whatever is definitely the best option, please tell me that who Krishna, he says. So naturally, since Arjuna is confused and he is seeking guidance from Krishna by saying, Prichami, I am asking you. What should you tell me? Yatme shreya syat. Tell me that is good for me. Because I am not in a position to find out what is good and what is bad. And this is the next stage. This is the wise thing to do, because when we are confused, it is better to get external help, external advice. But Bhagavan may say, that's fine, Arjuna. I would like to know on what capacity you are asking me to tell you this. Because Upadesha can be given only to someone who has Shishyatva Buddhi, a person who looks upon himself as a disciple. Otherwise, this Upadesha is a wasteful exercise. I will say so many things, the other fellow will take it, not take it. When a guru is giving Upadesha, he expects the Shishya to follow it. And that is why Arjuna adds, Te aham shishya, I am your disciple. And anyone who has to learn what is Shreyas, what is Brahma Vidya, has to have this Sishyatva Buddhi. Sishyatva Buddhi with reference to the teacher. The word Shishya itself means the one who is fit to be instructed. One who is ready to be instructed is a Shishya. So saying Shishya and not ready to be instructed is actually contradictory. And we see that in modern times, having this Shishya Bhava is becoming very rare. So he says, I am your Shishya. And here again, Puja Swamiji talks about three words: Vidyarthi, Antevasi, and Shishya. And he explains the difference between these three words. Normally, in common parlance, we use all these three words interchangeably, but there is a subtle difference between these three words. Vidyayaha arti iti vidyarthi. A person who is desire of knowledge is called a vidyarthi. This is not a casual desire, but a keen and constant desire. He is a vidyarthi, the one who wants vidya. Sorry, excuse me. Because it is not enough just to be a vidyarthi. Somebody may have a keen desire of getting knowledge, but he may not make the effort to get it. Because knowledge cannot be transmitted just like that in under any circumstances. There are certain conditions, certain situations only under which the knowledge can be transferred, especially in our traditional teaching methodology. Even today also, we go to schools and colleges because under those institutions only knowledge can be, instructions can be given, knowledge can be transferred. So for that, a Vidyarthi who has a keen desire for knowledge, what he should become? He should become an Antevasi. Antevasi is a very nice word. Guroho ante vasitum shilam yasya. The one who is staying near the teacher, not as anything, but regularly staying near the teacher. The one who has approached the teacher and continuing his or her association with the teacher. This is what is called staying with the teacher. This is Antevasi, means a Gurukula Vasi. So this person, Antevasi, is not only a Vidyarthi, but he has also made the efforts in terms of approaching the teacher. And such a person is called Antevasi. Still, if a person is desirous and has approached the teacher, but if he is not fully qualified for the teaching, because for many people, even after so many years of learning, transformation will not take place. There are people who have actually been attending Swami Paramarthananda's classes for the last 20-25 years. But their situation remains the same only. We do not know, of course, how much teaching has gone into them. So, the third thing which one has to become is Shishya. So, after Antevasi, one has to become a Shishya. Shishya is Shasana Yogya. He is a Shishya, the one who is fit to be taught. Shasana means teaching, instructing. Yogya means fit, the one who is fit to be instructed. And here Arjuna is showing his readiness for being taught or instructed. And this expression of readiness is itself one of the indications of a qualified student. Only when such a readiness is declared, the other person will show readiness to teach. The other person will become a guru only when a person is ready to learn from him. Otherwise, they are just two individuals. And one also cannot become a universal guru. Guru is a relative term, actually. A person is a guru only when the other person declares himself to be a Shishya. And this initiative has to be taken by the Shishya. A guru will never offer his teaching on his own. If such a person makes such an offer, Swami Sadatmananda says he doesn't deserve to be a guru, because a real guru will never be in search for a shishya. He has no pressure to teach. So only the shishya has to take the initiative. And so Arjuna says, Aham te shishya hai, I am your disciple. This is where Arjuna is taking the initiative. So far, he was looking upon Krishna as a friend and a well-wisher. But now, the driver Krishna has become teacher Krishna. And Rathaswami, the master of the chariot, Arjuna, has become a student. And that's why I said, so much is there to read into this sloka, so much is there to understand. That's why it's a crucial sloka in the introductory portion. Even if we forget the entire first chapter, it does not matter. But one should not forget this sloka, because in this verse alone, Arjuna the soldier is converted into Arjuna the disciple. So he says, Shishya aham, no more Swami, I am Shishya hai. That's what Arjuna says. So as we have seen, this Shishya hai, Shasana Yogya hai, one who is fit to be taught. Shiksha Yogya hai, we can say. And what determines this Yogyata? I gave one, this thing is that Arjuna saying, I am your Shishya, please teach me. Accepting Krishna as his guru, as a teacher. But there are other requirements for a Shishya. Let us see them briefly. First of all, a Shishya should have an open mind without any prejudices. He should not have any preconceived notion as to what he is going to learn. He should not already have concluded what is right and wrong. As Swami Paramarthananda ji says, if I have concluded that I have read the Gita 20 times, let me see whether Swamiji is telling properly or not. Some people may come with this kind of an attitude. And this is not just a hypothesis. There was a friend of mine who later on only I actually came to know. He knew a lot about Vedanta, but he will ask me questions as if very innocently he is asking. And I will, with my, of course, it was some years earlier when I was actually learning, in the Gurukula. So I will try to tell him something very seriously, and he will try to poke holes in what I was telling. He will say, no, you are saying this, but here Viveka Chudamani says this and that says this. I have not gone through all those things at all. Then I realized that he is actually asking me questions to test me whether my learning is good or not. He is not coming to me as a Shishya. In fact, he is coming to test me. He is like giving examination to me. So means what? He has got a prejudiced mind. So one should come to the Guru with an open mind. One need not accept everything that the Guru says. One need not say that the teacher is right. One need not say that teacher is wrong. One should come with an open mind, keep all preconceived notions aside and conclusions aside, along with chappals outside, as Swami Paramarthananda says. Because in these classes, obviously, in all places of teaching, the chappal shoes are all kept outside the room, the teaching room. So, like we leave the chappals, leave all your prejudices, leave all your preconceived notions, and all your already conclusions and all outside. And there are others who come to the class, and whatever the teacher is teaching, they want to show off their knowledge already which they have got, and they will keep on raising so many doubts. And if the teacher answers one doubt, they will ask another doubt based on what the teacher has answered. And actually, if this kind of raising the doubt is allowed during the class, these persons are capable of actually what they call, hijacking the entire class till the end of the period. That is why, in Gurukulam teaching and all that, in the style of teaching, when the teacher is teaching, nobody is allowed to ask any questions. The teacher will say, please note down your questions in the notebook, and after the class is over, raise those doubts. And many such people will not do that, mainly because their purpose of raising doubts is to show others in the class that I am so knowledgeable. But once the class ends, students who have got no doubts will leave the class, and only few students will be left. And that is not enough audience for them to show off their knowledge. So this is how the Gurukulams, manage such situations, such students. And such people are also not Shasana Yogya, because they do not come to learn with an open mind. Therefore, at the time of Shravanam, that openness must be there. I should not have concluded that karmana hai moksha hai, bhaktya moksha hai, jnanena moksha hai. All these conclusions I should not have in my mind. This open-mindedness is called sishyatvam, shiksha yogyatvam. So Arjuna says, Aham te sishya hai, I have come to you with an open mind to learn. Shadhimam, please teach me. Because the guru can never see the mind of the disciple, because the mind is invisible. And therefore, the Shishya has to physically express his open-mindedness, and it has to be symbolized. Where he can't, like Hanuman, show, open his heart and show that Rama is there. So some symbol has to be there. And Paramartha talks about, whenever we want to show friendship to another person, friendship is an internal notion. It is in my mind that so-and-so is my friend. But how do I express it? We have got some physical form of physical greeting. In some cultures, they shake hands. In some cultures, they kiss each other in the cheeks or in the head and all that. In some cultures, they smell the top of the head. And Swamiji says, of course, I don't know. In South Africa, he has heard that they show the tongue out to this is the symbol of friendship. Like that. I don't know. But I have heard him saying that. This is in some South American countries, rather. I don't know. So therefore, these are all physical expression of an internal condition. In our culture, how do we express such an open-mindedness to learn? How do we do that? It's very interesting. And that is where Arjuna's these words become very relevant. He says, Mam Tvam Prapannam, I have surrendered to you. Prapanna means take refuge, surrender. Teach me, who has surrendered to you. And the word prapanna has got a synonym with the word sharana. So prapanna is popularly known as sharanagatihi. And in the spiritual world, this word sharanagati is very popular. But there are so many people who are allergic to this word sharanagati, especially Guru Sharanagati. They feel that it is some sort of a slavery, fanaticism or gurudom. Some gurus they want people to sort of surrender to them by doing Sharanagati. So such people, they keep a safe distance from this word Sharanagati. There is another extreme. In the name of Guru Sharanagati, some people blindly follow someone or his or her orders, not using their own intellect, never asking any question or explanation, even if it is going against dharma. This is the other extreme. They don't use their buddhi given by Bhagawad. So we see both type of people in this world of sadhana. Therefore, we need to have a healthy attitude and a healthy approach to this word Sharanagati, especially Guru Sharanagati. So this word Sharanagati has got two parts, Sharana and Agati. It's a compound, it's a samasa, but it's a little complicated samasa. So of course, we are not going into the Sanskrit part. Agati means coming or approaching. Sharana means, as I said, to take refuge, shelter. And also it has a meaning of source of guidance and protection. A person who gives this, who provides guidance and protection is also called Sharana. So Sharanagati means approaching the source of protection, help and guidance. Those who are interested, Sanskrit students, Sharana is from Shru Dhatu, Shru Pluta, not Dirga, Shru, to this thing, and Lyap Pratyaya, Sharana. Not Lyut Pratyaya, not that, Lyut Pratyaya, Sharana. Ana is coming. No? So in this context, we can take the meaning of Sharanam as one who destroys the fear or problem and gives protection. So Guru Sharanagati means approaching the Guru with the request and hope for protection and guidance, and that is what is meant by surrender. Now the next question would be, what does this Guru Sharanagati involve? What is its nature? Does it mean that just by doing a namaskara to the Guru, one has surrendered to the Guru? Of course, one who has surrendered to the Guru will certainly do the namaskara. There is no doubt about it. But that is not the only indication, or that is not all. So, as I said, there are a number of misconceptions surrounding this term. So let us understand a few of the misconceptions. The first misconception is some people have is that once you have surrendered to the Guru, one should stop using one's buddhi and not ask any question. Because some people consider it irreverential to ask a questions to Guru. They feel that we should only listen to the Guru and follow his advice. This is not a correct attitude. Even though one has surrendered to the teacher, still one can and should use his buddhi for pursuit of knowledge. Because pramana vyapara, which is the interaction with the source of knowledge, is happening in the buddhi. Shastric knowledge is happening in the buddhi alone. So whenever you have got a genuine doubt, and if it is not clear what the Guru is explaining, then one should actually raise the doubt, raise the question in a very reverential manner. You need not challenge the Guru. You need not try to make out as if the Guru is wrong and I am right. That is not the attitude. But very reverentially, very respectfully, you can ask the Guru to explain it once more. Or many times, which we have used in Gurukulam, if we don't understand it in the class, even after having been repeated twice, we go and meet the Guru personally and ask him that question and ask him to clarify to us. And a Guru is a good Guru who will actually entertain all such serious students who are keen to know, to gain the knowledge. Then there are others who says that you can use your buddhi just to say yes to all that the Guru says, but should not ask questions. And not asking a question need not be a sign of surrender. It could be a sign of indifference, or it could be a sign of not understanding anything. Two types of people will not ask question. One who has understood everything, totally clear, that such people will not ask any question. And those who have not understood anything will not ask any question, because they may feel that if I ask some stupid question, other people will make fun of me. So they will also not ask any question. But all these things need not be sign of Sharanagati. And also, because someone is asking question does not mean that he has not surrendered. Because if a person wants to understand something well, he will ask questions. So therefore, asking questions or not asking questions should not be connected with Sharanagati at all. And there is one more misconception. That is, Sharanagati or surrender is a substitute for one's own effort. I don't have to work for moksha because I have surrendered. It is now Guru's job to give me moksha. Whatever after Sharanagati, whatever sadhana is prescribed by the teacher is to be done, no doubt. But Sharanagati facilitates one's efforts. It gives direction to one's efforts, but it is not a substitute for one's efforts. And Sharanagati also does not mean that one blindly follows whatever the Guru says, even though one's intellect says that it is against Dharma. There are many people who think that what all the Guru says is right, even if it is adharmic. And there are some so-called Gurus who are not ready to answer if they are asked why something they say is right or it is dharmic. So, from that standpoint, we should also not become fanatics. We should not think that my Guru alone is the correct Guru in the world or all Gurus are wrong. One cannot say my Guru is the best Guru and all other Gurus are useless. Therefore, to understand the essence of Guru Sharanagati, we have to understand that it's a particular disposition towards the Guru characterized by a certain attitude. It is a way of looking at a Guru with a certain attitude. I will briefly tell you what those attitudes. First is trust in the Guru. You cannot say, I have surrendered to my Guru, but I have no trust in him. This will be a contradiction. By trust, we mean, I trust that he knows what he is teaching. And if you have any doubt on this, you cannot have a trust in Guru. If you think that the Guru doesn't know what he is teaching, then you cannot trust the Guru. So the first thing is trust the Guru. I know that he is a learned Guru. Everybody has talked well about him. He is very highly esteemed Guru. So I know that he knows what he is teaching. That is the development of trust. So the first thing is that I trust that he knows what he is teaching. And the second thing is that I trust that he is my well-wisher. If that attitude is not there, then also surrender cannot happen. And thirdly, one should have the attitude that my Guru understands what I want, what I need. Otherwise, as it will be like going to an ortho surgeon for a stomach problem. Then also surrender will not happen. So either I am in the process of being understood or I have been understood fully by the Guru, then only Sharanagati will happen. The fourth is the respect for the teacher. I can surrender to someone when I have respect for the person, respect for his knowledge, respect for his lifestyle. Otherwise also the Guru Sharanagati cannot happen. The fifth is the sense of gratitude. That means I am not obliging the Guru by becoming his disciple. For that gratitude, I connect my relationship with the Guru as Ishvara. I look upon the Guru as the manifestation of Ishvara, or at least I look upon the Guru as an expression of Ishvara's grace. I look upon the Guru as a result of my past punya karmas, as a result of my prayers for this knowledge, and this Guru has come in, in contact with me. I have come in contact with the Guru. When somebody has that attitude, then also Sharanagati can take place. And last but not the least, of course, is love for the Guru. Because in an atmosphere of love only, rapport can happen. You should be able to be free with the Guru. If you have to be frightened about the Guru all the time, oh my God, what the Guru, I will, many people avoid, if some Swamiji comes, they will avoid. If that happens, there can be no surrender. So all this is possible only if there is respect first. So a Guru-Sishya relationship is defined by mutual respect and mutual love. So as a person, we like him or her, the Guru, then only Guru Sharanagati can happen. So all these elements which constitute a Guru, which are there, they constitute Guru Sharanagati. So Guru Sharanagati is important because if it is there, then only I can be relaxed. Then only my mind will be receptive to the teaching. Otherwise, all the time I have to have a firewall. There will not be any learning mind. It will be a defensive mind. And that is why Guru Sharanagati is emphasized in the Shastra. It is not slavery. If you have a resistance to a Guru in any manner, learning will not take place. More we will see in the, and this is the whole context when Arjuna is saying, Tuam Prapannam, I surrender to you. We must read so much into these two words, I surrender to you, Tuam Prapannam. All these aspects are involved in that surrender or in that Sharanagati of Arjuna. So we'll stop here and then I'll say the prayers. Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Thank you all very much.
धन्यवाद
Guruji.
Dhanyawadaha. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guruji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mama.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Namaskaram, Guruji.
Hari Om.
Namaskaram.
Namaskaram.
Thank you, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Thank you. Namaskaram. Namaskaram.
Thank you, Guruji.
So, so, shall we start the question answer session? I will first take a question which is been sent by Hariji. What is that question? He wants me to explain a oft-quoted phrase in Vedanta, which is kartum akartum anyata kartum. These three words. So I'll just briefly explain that. Actually, the full expression is kartum shakyam, akartum shakyam, anyata kartum shakyam. That is the expression. And these are used in the context of discussion on free will. In the context of the big discussion, I mean, this is one of the very, I would say, core discussions in Vedanta, which is law of karma and free will. How these two things actually interact with each other and what happens. Those who are my Tattva Bodha students, I have explained this in very great detail when discussing about law of karma. Right? But here I will briefly tell what this is. See, we always say that all circumstances in our life, the happiness we get, the sadness we get, is all because of our past karmas. Because of the punya papa that we have earned in the previous birth or even in this birth, before these experiences come to us. But we must understand what exactly these punya papas do. How do they deliver the karma phala? We must understand that. Because if we were to be driven only by karmas, by our past karma, past punya papas, and the result of those punya papas, we need not have been born as human beings. We could have been born as an animal rather. God has given us a human birth as a karma phala, and at the same time, he has also given us a special quality of free will for us to manage our karmas. Not only manage our past karmas, but also to manage our present and future karmas also. This is possible only in the human birth. So, what we need to understand is the karma phala which comes to us are circumstances which are created for us by the past karmas, which could potentially give us happiness or sorrow. So the circumstances have a potential to give happiness or sorrow. If we do nothing about it, they will deliver happiness or sorrow, whatever be the case, depending upon the karma. By saying not doing anything about it means not exercising our free will at all. If we don't exercise our free will at all to respond to the circumstances which are presented to us because of the past karmas will deliver whatever is to be delivered, and that matter will be over. We don't do anything at all. Whereas, understanding the circumstances, understanding that these circumstances have come to me because of my past karmas, and understanding that I have got a free will in order to respond to this in a way that the potency of those karmas, either sadness or happiness, is managed in such a way that I can bear them, is the use of free will. So when we say kartum shakyam, akartum shakyam, anyata kartum shakyam, means when we are faced with these circumstances delivered to us by our karmas, which has got a potential for either giving happiness or sadness. Of course, if it has a potential to give happiness, we will not worry too much about it, isn't it? We'll be happy. But there also, behind that happiness also, there could be a potential to give you sadness. So we need to use our free will to manage that. I will explain this with a small example which occurs to my mind. A person, because of his karma, he is supposed to become very rich. He is a poor guy. I mean, right now, maybe a street vendor or something, earning a few things, but he doesn't know that. But according to his karma, he is supposed to become very rich. And the circumstances come. He is in the habit of buying lottery tickets. Okay. Now he keeps on buying. One fine day, he finds that he has won $1 million or whatever equivalent amount in that currency wherever he is. If he's in India, it is in rupees. If he's in UK, it is in pounds. If he's in the US, it is US dollars. If he's in Canada, Canadian dollars. Values are all different, but $1 million value he gets because of that lottery ticket. Karma has delivered. For the karma to deliver also, there was an action involved on his part, which is buying the lottery ticket. Isn't it? So he had used his free will to buy the lottery ticket, and that lottery ticket delivered this $1 million. Very good. Very happy about it. $1 million. It comes in the newspapers and all that. That so and so street vendor, poor man, won $1 million in this lottery. Happiness is given. Karma has done his job, given his happiness. Now, question comes free will. What does he do with that $1 million? That is where the free will comes. Kartum Shakyam. He can accept that $1 million, do everything to protect the value of that $1 million. Say, for example, doing dharmic activities to some extent, like Purta Karmas, giving some donations to poor people and all, and things like that, or making some very wise investments and all that. He can do all that, protect the value, or in fact, even work towards increasing the value of that $1 million. Kartum Shakyam. He can do that. Shakyam means possible to do. Okay. Akartum Shakyam. He got, I got $1 million. I've been a poor man. Now let me I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to stop my all street vending business and all. I am going to buy myself a nice bungalow, very double king size cot and bed, and I am going to sleep the rest of my life. Have so many servants, they will feed me. $1 million, he doesn't want to do anything and just want to take rest. Akartum Shakyam. So these two options we have seen. One, he does something positively in order to protect the value, in order to increase its value. Another is that he just goes on spending that $1 million. And one fine day, he will be back to, once that money is all spent, back to street vendor. So at least if he was intelligent, he will have kept that cart, which he had used safely rather, where he will. So this is Akartum Shakyam. He need not do anything. Then Anyata Kartum. He can actually say, oh, I have got $1 million. I will use my free will and I will gamble. I will go to Las Vegas. I will go to this horse race, that horse race and all. Do something totally different with that $1 million than what other possibilities were there. That is Anyata Kartum. So even though the person, the karma has delivered its result, the response to that karma is what, by using our free will, is what will determine whether that result eventually is going to be a happy result or a sorrowful result. And that is why Kartum Shakyam, Akartum Shakyam, Anyata Kartum Shakyam becomes very, very important. This is how the play. But what happens sometimes is, in some cases, where the karma is very strong, because karmas also have got various gradations, rather, which is weak karma, medium level karma, very strong karmas and all that. So many examples, but I give a few more examples in the Purvada class, right? There are strong karma. I mean, an example which Swami Paramathananda gives, right, is that suppose a person has got some disease. It is a disease which is very sort of, what we call terminal disease kind of a thing. It could actually create a lot of problem for him. There also, this is because he has got it because of his karma phala. Now there, he has got three options, isn't it? One option is go to a good doctor, go to a good hospital, get the disease diagnosed and treat it. Though it may not be possible to completely treat it, but at least it can be treated to the extent that whatever the problem is caused by the disease is bearable. The other option, the second is, he does nothing. This is God. God has given this karma to me. I don't do anything. Let me suffer whatever I want to suffer. He can do that, provided he is a jnani. Because jnani basically understand he is a akarta. So if he is a jnani, he can be akarta and then say, let my prarabdha karma run its course. But we are not jnanis. This phrase is not said in the context of jnanis. It is said in the context of ajnanis only. And the third one is, he says, oh, I have got anyata kartum. What is it? Oh my God, no, I don't know. My life is wasted. I've got this terminal disease. Let me take my life now itself so that I don't suffer the consequences. Anyata kartum. The best thing would have been using his free will to go to a doctor, but he actually chooses to commit suicide. Anyata kartum. So this kartum shakyam, akartum shakyam, anyata kartum shakyam applies in every response to whatever results the karma deliver to us in our day-to-day life. It determines the response that actually we can have, and the more enlightened, or I would say more knowledgeable we are about all these things, about dharma, dharma and all that, we will always take the karmas as they come, but we will deal with it so that the effect, especially the ill effect of these karmas, they will not, they will be bearable for us. So this is the context of this kartum shakyam, akartum shakyam, anyata kartum shakyam. I hope I have answered your question to your satisfaction. Yes, Sujat. One question. Let him complete. Yeah, let him complete.
Can you tell me, you were telling that this is explained in one of the slokas, no?
Where in Bhagavad Gita?
No. You were telling that about Katram Shakyam, in which sloka?
Sloka. This is generally, you see, Puja Swamiji in his talks uses this phrase quite often in the context of law of karma.
Okay.
So that is what it is. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yes, Sulekha ji.
Just on that point, thank you for the explanation. Where does intellect then come into this equation of free will in terms of developing? Can you clarify or discuss a little bit?
Yeah. See, intellect is what? Intellect, we will call it buddhi. Now, whenever we are talking about a karma delivering the results of the past karmas, creating circumstances which could actually lead to happiness or lead to unhappiness. These are the two possibilities, depending upon it's a punya karma or a papa karma, isn't it? That is how the circumstances are created for us. Now, where does this happiness or sorrow sit? They are sitting in our manas, in our mind. They are emotions of the mind, isn't it? Now, whatever emotions come to the mind, how those emotions are processed, their mind has got no processor. Mind is only an input tool in the whole system. So what that input goes, it goes to the processor, which is the buddhi. Now the intellect, actually, this kartum shakyam, akartum shakyam, anyata kartum shakyam is actually the free will. When we say free will, it is the action of the intellect. And the decision, what is to be done, is taken by the intellect. And intellect, what it does, it will take the decision based upon the past samskaras, your past experiences, your understanding of what is right, what is wrong. So many things are there in the intellect which are all stored there. So when a particular circumstance comes, how am I to respond to it? It is the intellect which processes that emotion and says, give this response based upon all these things. And it's all like supercomputer. It happens in a split second, rather. We don't even see the process happening. But this is how if we have to understand in the language, the technological language, this is how the whole thing takes place, rather. So this free will exercise is an intellectual exercise. It is not an emotional exercise. What sometimes happens is the emotions are so strong that they blunt the intellect. They do not allow the intellect to function, they corrupt the intellect. And as long as you are having a predominance of tamasa guna or a rajo guna, you will always have this virus problem, the virus of emotion corrupting the intellect. Whereas when you develop enough of sattva guna, the intellect will be very clear in its thinking, in its operation. It will not allow any, it will create a firewall of all these emotions. It will be objective in its approach in the intellect, and then take the right decision given the circumstances. So that is how, what is the role of intellect is. Yeah.
Thank you, Guruji. Just one more question, if I may, around intellect. Is intellect then the outward expression of free will or the manifestation of free will?
No, free will manifests in the intellect. Free will manifests in the intellect. So the decision to take kartum shakyam, akartum shakyam, anyata kartum shakyam is the exercise of that free will which happens in the intellect. And once that decision is taken, the intellect then gives orders to all the other organs of the body to go ahead and actually accomplish what has been decided. Right or wrong is a different thing from our point of view. But for that intellect, for that person, whatever decision he has taken taken that decision by exercise of his free will. Not because just karma has done its job, so that's the end of the matter. That is not the end of the matter. Karma has done its job, that is one part. How we respond to that is the intellect, the free will part. That is how the whole process works. Yeah.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions, please?
Yeah, so the possibility of reacting or response is retained by us, or do we have no control?
Yeah, we have 100% control over how we respond. See, reaction is, the two words are there, reaction and response, correct?
Mhm.
Reaction is a what I would call it, a response which is without control.
Okay.
We must understand the difference between the import of these two words. What is a reaction? What is a response? People say knee-jerk reaction, right? This expression is used in the language, right?
Mhm. Yes.
A knee-jerk reaction is where you don't think at all. You just respond. You are not using your free will at all. But it's a reaction which comes on the spur of the moment. You don't, even the intellect has not reached. It is just like short-circuiting the whole thing. Whereas a response always implies that it is a well thought out response, a well constructed response. So when we talk of a response, we are talking of a free will. When we talk of reaction, we don't talk of free will. It is just without using your free will, you are just responding. That response is at the emotional level. That response is not at the intellectual level. So that is why.
So the intensity of the need is what propels you to act.
No, intensity does not matter. What is intensity? Action you will in any case do. Whatever comes to you, that action will be there. For every action, there will be a, what they say, reaction, but there can be a reaction or a response. So whatever happens, whatever circumstances comes to us, there has to be something done by us. Now, whether we are doing that by exercise of our free will, and when I say exercise of free will means the intellectual is taking the decision. As I said, again, I'm not trying to say whether it's a right decision or wrong decision. A decision is taken. I am going to do this. I have got $1 million. I am going to buy a mansion and a big bed and I am going to sleep. This is not a reaction. This is a decision taken by the intellect. I'm not saying it's a right decision, but it's a decision. The reaction is the person hears the news, I have got $1 million. No, he suddenly becomes so emotional. There is a heart attack, cardiac arrest, and he dies. reaction.
Mm.
He doesn't take that information and processes it, what has come. That is the immediate knee-jerk reaction. He got a heart attack because he became extremely emotional because of that.
Hmm.
Whereas in normal circumstances, anybody who hears the news, he will actually even make sure, first thing he will make sure that that 1 million which he has got is not taken away by him, from him rather, isn't it? Because there could be some
Yes.
many people who will want to cheat him rather. There are a lot of such people around. So all these things are all actions of the intellect. So your reaction is a sort of a knee-jerk reaction without thinking about it, without analyzing the pros and cons. You just do something. And mind you, most of the times that is what we do. Most of the times we react, we don't respond. And all our problems in our domestic life is because of this reactive mode only. We are not in a responding mode at all. Somebody says something, we don't even think about it. Immediately we will say something else. Because that person, what he has said, hurt me. Now my reaction is, I will hurt him. So I will say something to hurt him. And then both will start fighting, especially between the spouses. This is very common. One-upmanship we keep on playing. This one-upmanship does not involve any free will at all. We don't even think, oh, such and such person has said this to me. What is the reason? Is there a problem with me that because he made this, because of which he made this remark? Or is that person having a problem because of which he has actually been forced to say this to me? Let me be a little more sympathetic and find out what is the problem with that person, why he is behaving like this. This is where you bring your intellect and your analysis into the picture instead of immediately responding, in a equal, one-upmanship way. I don't know whether I have actually covered with you the answer to your question. I don't know whether I went away from the topic. But this is the difference. These are all very subtle differences we need to understand, that when we are exercising our free will, we must have that should be a very, what I should say, informed exercise. We must involve. I am involving my free will here, and I am giving this job to my intellect to analyze this whole thing. Then only I will give a response. In fact, I had a friend of mine long back. I was also very sort of a short-tempered, very reactive kind of a thing. Now, of course, also sometimes it happens rather, but I am trying to control this. That is my sadhana. Every time that I am impelled to do that, I will stop myself. Okay, stop it. Now let us think about it. But that time, I was actually, this is a very actual incident. There was I was in one sort of our alumni association. I was the general secretary, and we were a very active alumni association. A lot of work we used to do for the schools that we studied. For the students, we used to conduct some, quiz competitions, cultural competitions, and all that. And we were very much involved. Throughout the year, almost we will have 12 to 15 programs, and every program requires organization and things like that and all. As general secretary, I was actually doing all that kind of a thing. And it was a good team. We had about a team of 15 committee members we are doing, and the president was there, one nice gentleman. Once what happened was, I had to actually, there was a program coming and I had to go on a holiday to attend some marriage for a few days, from 6-7 days. But during those 7 days, a lot of things had to be done for the program to take place. So I had another person who is the treasurer of the association. I told him, gave him a complete list of things to be done in my absence rather. Those were not the days of cell phone days also. So there was no way that I could communicate or contact anybody. I gave him a list and told him that in my absence, please complete all these things. Okay, I come back from the marriage and all that. We call a meeting and I discover that not a single thing has been done by that fellow. He has not attended to any of the things, and they were all time critical things rather. So naturally, I became very nervous whether the program will happen or not. And program normally it's a social function and it involves so many outsiders also. And if I have to cancel the program, what will be the consequences? We have actually booked a hall and paid advance for that. Will the hall fellow will return the money or not? So many issues are there. I got frustrated. I immediately wrote a very long letter of resignation. And it was running into 2 pages, big letter to the addressed to the chairman. I went and gave it to him. I said, I am resigning. I don't want this position. After all, it's an honorary post. It's not paying me any salary or anything. I'm doing it because of my love for social service. I gave it to him. He very patiently read that letter. Then he asked me whether you have given that letter to the other fellow, this copy of this letter. I said, no, I'm not given. I'm only showing it to you. Okay, he says, you do one thing. You leave this with me. I'm not accepting this letter now. You go home and tomorrow you read this letter again. And then let me know whether you still want to submit your resignation and by saying all these things. So I said, okay, I had a good respect for that chairman. A very nice gentleman. He's still alive. He's in Coimbatore. So I went home and slept over the whole thing. In fact, the whole night I was thinking about it and all that. And then next day I felt that what a stupid thing I'm doing. No, if he has not done all those things, let me see how I can actually, within the time left, manage to do those things. After all, it is not, heavens are not going to fall. So I went back to him and told him, I thought about it. I will withdraw that letter. We will have the function. And we have conducted the function. It went off very well. So this is the difference between reaction and response. The lighting of the letter in a very emotionally charged condition was a reaction to what that person had not done. Whereas, as a guru, he advised me, the chairman, don't react, respond. Go and think about it. Read that letter once again, what all you have written. And it is not the letter which matters, the content which matters, but whether you can actually avoid this entire thing and still go ahead with the program is what you should apply your mind. Not to what has already happened, rather. He has not done it, not done it, done, finished. You can't do anything about it. So by you resigning and doing all this, creating all these problems, and it's not going to solve the problem. So that incident is always there in my mind when I have to see what is the reaction and what is the response. This is the difference we have to understand in our life. Every situation we come across where we tend to react, even if we have reacted, there is always a time gap. We can think about it, then we can even amend that reaction. That is possible for us. And that is the journey of a sadhaka. That is how one has to, as I said, stop blaming the world. From a samsari to become a sadhaka, samsari blames the world for all his problems. A sadhaka stops blaming the world for his problems. So that is the difference we have to understand in the spiritual journey. And that is our attempt should be to progress towards this, to move towards that situation. Have I in this talk answered your question?
Yes, it did. And it did it in a very beautiful way. The thing is, for all of us, it's not only for you. There are times when I have felt like Chicken Little, where the sky is going to fall down, but and then you tend to react, but it becomes more and more frequent if you do it more often. As soon as you learn how to put the brakes on, it gets a little easier. Not that it gets very easy, but it's at least you know that you're taking baby steps.
Absolutely. Then you will reach a stage, when you follow this, you will reach a stage when your reaction will be zero. Anything that happens, you will not react at all. You will just take it in, all the inputs you will take it in, contemplate on it, even probably if it's a very huge problem, you may even isolate yourself in a separate room, think about it without any disturbance, without anybody, talking and all that. Think about it. And when you do that, I tell you, your intellect, your buddhi has got such a tremendous power. When you do that, automatically solutions will appear. And of course, you have to do it with praying to Bhagavan always, because the solution also has to come from the order of the universe, from the cosmic order only. Submit yourself to the cosmic order and then seek answers there. It will give you the answers. And on this again, I have a lot of experience for that. When I am having a serious problem, I do this. I go, in fact, especially when I am actually praying in the morning and all that, my mind actually during the prayers will be running this problem. At the end of the prayers, some solution will appear to me rather. On one side, prayer will be going on, another side is working. And I always tell my children that this is what it is. This has been told to me by Bhagavan. So this is what I am going to do. I have got this in my prayers in the morning. So this happens rather. All these things I am telling you because I experience it myself. And many difficult problems have got solved because of this only. So that you will reach a stage when you continue to do this, you will reach a stage where you will be able to only apply your buddhi. Mind is totally disconnected. Mind just takes inputs, doesn't even have any emotions, it doesn't even react. It will pass on the message to the buddhi. Then the buddhi will take over and then it will deal with the issue. That happens.
So true. Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you. Yes, Hariji.
So Guruji, when we say that I am using my free will, it means that I am taking decision.
Yes, yes, very much. That means you are taking a decision. You are in charge of your life. Don't blame others. Don't blame karma for what happens in your life. Let karma do its part. But I will, like we have got examples like Ramana Maharshi and all that, right? He got cancer because of his karmas. But did he react like the way, he said, I'm not going to take any treatment, but doctors insisted that we need to actually do some, surgery and all that. He said, go ahead and do the surgery. They said, we'll have to admit you to the hospital. And there's no need, do it in the ashram itself. We have to give anesthesia. No need for anesthesia. You do cut whatever you want to cut. He has reached that stage where he has totally disengaged his intellect, his mind with his body, physical body. So it doesn't bother for him. He has got the titiksha, that endurance. Why do we do all these things, anesthesia and all? Because we have got a very, very low endurance for pain. That is why we are put into anesthesia and all that, so that we don't feel the pain, isn't it? Ask Lataji, once that anesthesia wears off, then how the pain comes back, from in the part which has been cut and which has been, the incision has taken place. Because we don't have, but Ramana Maharshi had reached that stage where that's what we say, titiksha, endurance, power. That much titiksha he has got that even if they cut a part of his body, he doesn't feel the pain. That is the endurance power. Everybody has got that power, but it is limited rather, isn't it? As children, we have got very low endurance. So even some small cut is there, we'll start crying, isn't it? As we grow up, the endurance also increases. So even if there's a cut and nothing there, okay, I'll just put some Dettol or something like that, or put a plaster around it, it will be okay. That much endurance has come. It no longer pains us, isn't it? Similarly, in this path, we go on doing this, all these sadhanas to increase the endurance. Then we will also reach a stage where we will have that kind of endurance and nothing will bother us. So it is all exercise of free will. And all sadhanas that we do, all exercise of free will only. I want to do it. I know how to do it. I have been taught how to do it. I will do it this way. That's it. Okay. Hariom. Thank you very much. Hariom. So if there are no more questions, can I close the show?
Guruji, I just wanted to ask something. It's just a quick one.
No problem. Also, no problem.
So talking about the reaction, now we hear from the Purana stories that so-and-so Rishi, because he got angry and then he gave Shapa. And then, Shakuntala was given Shapa by the one Muni, and then somebody else was given Shapa. So is that all okay at the Rishi level, because the outcome of it is also something positive?
See, we actually, there are, first answer, my immediate answer is that coming to Vedanta, Bhagavad Gita, we have left the teachings of Purana behind. First action, right? That is the first action. Now, let us understand, what does the Puranas address the majority of the population? And the problem with many people is that whenever they're doing this reaction and all, and if they are little bit self-aware, they carry a guilt feeling with themselves. Anybody who has done, many times we have also said sorry, isn't it? We have said something to somebody which has hurt the other person. When we said that, we didn't realize that the other person will be hurt. But when the other person expresses his hurt, we say sorry to him. Isn't it? What is that sorry coming from? The sorry is coming from a guilt feeling that I have hurt that other person. So what the Puranas are trying to tell us is that don't feel guilty about all these things. This is normal. Even rishis have done this. After all, Puranas are all what? Stories, right?
Yes.
They have got a higher degree of mithya than anything else, rather. So their message is, you don't feel guilty, yes, say sorry, but wrong things, even rishis have done it. Rishis are also human beings. To err is human. So if you have erred, so don't worry, don't carry the guilt feeling, but you take care that you don't repeat it again. You have some lessons from that incident, so that you avoid these things later. Because this is all necessary in the spiritual path. It's all part of the entire exercise that we have to keep on doing day in and day out. So what we have to learn from the Purana stories, we should not look at what the rishis did, but what was the outcome of that. So that is how
all of them have led to some positive outcomes.
For positive outcome, we have to look at those stories with that. And then they are entertaining also, because if you have seen stories especially, and it's films and anything you take, drama and all, there are few elements which are important in order to make it interesting to people, in order to engage people's attention. And one of the important thing is a conflict. So a conflict has to be introduced by the author in all the stories, so that becomes interesting, that becomes entertaining. So in all this also, the Vyasa Maharishi in writing the Puranas has introduced so many conflicts, right?
Twist in the story.
Sorry? Twist in the story and all that. And then they are seeing the rishis and all that. They are, see, we cannot say any character is a purely great character. Any character that we come across has got pluses and minuses. Maybe it is the degree may be different, rather. Even Rama, Krishna and all that characters, rather, there are so many stories which actually show them in poor light, isn't it? But then what is our take? Overall, what is it there? Don't look at individual issues. Look at the overall thing. What is it? That is our teaching. That is our learning from the life of Rama, life of Krishna. So otherwise we can keep on. I mean, that is what many people do. They will pick up one thing here, one thing there. Oh, this fellow did this. Krishna did this. How he is great. Rama did this. How he is great. Like that, they all keep on arguing without understanding, without first of all studying Ramayana itself. They will be discussing Rama's life story. So all these things, so such people are there. We can't do anything with them. We don't even need to actually make them understand what it is all about. If you believe it like that, fine, no problem. It's not going to affect me. That's why Vedanta is a very purely selfish journey, rather. And anybody say anything, I don't care. For me, I know the truth. I am following, I'm trying to find the ultimate truth. That is my journey, period. Whether it is spouse or the children, let them say anything. How does it matter? So that is how our approach should be. All this we can read Puranas and all, good stories and all, right? Very interesting stories. Entertainment. It's an alternative to watching these operas in the TV rather. You can do that. A better alternative, if you know a little bit Sanskrit, read the Puranas, at least, if not anything else, your Sanskrit will improve. So that is
Thank
what.
you, Guruji.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hari Om.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
Yes, and continue next week. Okay, Hari
Thank
Om.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.